Hello everyone, my name is First Edition Javin, here to tell you about some First Edition Pokemon cards and what happened, the mystery behind them. Alright, so you all know what First Edition cards, right? They're the little cards with the little stampies on them that say First Edition. They let you know it was the original first print run of those sets. After the First Edition print run, then there was the Unlimited print run, which was the bulk of the printing and where most of the cards were produced, and that was the rest of the run for those sets. And for the sets that do have First Edition in English, that is why they are highly valued by collectors, because collectors love little things that make them feel special. Yeah, really, compared to Unlimited, there are very few examples of some First Edition cards, making them very valuable to those greedy collectors. But anyway, there were several contributing factors to why those First Edition cards stopped being a thing. And we don't have the exact reasoning why, but we can kind of deduce what was going on. So first off, around the second generation, when the Neo sets were being printed, they were also still doing first editions, but those first edition print runs were coming out at the exact same time, essentially, as the Unlimited runs. They were not being put out beforehand like they were supposed to be. So at the time, essentially, the first edition was not special. You could get them in the stores alongside the Unlimited at those times. As well as these issues with getting these first edition print runs out on time, Wizards of the Coast was having an issue with their Pokemon license. It was going to expire. Wizards of the Coast owned the rights to print Pokemon cards in English, and towards the early 2000s, their license to print those cards was going to end. And so they were trying to crank out sets, as many as they could there towards the end, before that license expired. And having to do two different runs of sets takes more time and is more difficult for them to do. So it's easier just to do one Unlimited run and no first edition. And they then don't have to worry about distributing those first edition cards beforehand before those Unlimited print runs, so they can just put it all out. And to top it all off, along with all that other stuff that was going on, they were also experimenting with reverse holo cards at the time, starting with the Legendary Collection. The Legendary Collection, which featured that like firework design. I mean, you look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about, but the cards were basically, they had reverse holos in that set. It was not the first set to not have a first edition print run. That set was base set 2, a very unpopular set. But the Legendary Collection was the first set to not have a first edition print run and have reverse holos. Now, I would be hesitant to call reverse holos a replacement for first edition cards, because they're not. But I do think reverse holos do play a role in this situation, because as first edition cards were being transitioned away, reverse holos came into play, and that's a good rhyme. So in every set since the Legendary Collection, there has been reverse holo, a guaranteed reverse holo in every regular pack. And so that's kind of the history of first edition, a little overview of where it was, what happened to it. It's no longer a thing. There are first edition cards in Japanese, but they're not special. That's just essentially the Unlimited run is first edition for them. If you take a look down there, there'll be like a little stamp on the Japanese card that says first edition, but essentially all the Japanese cards are first edition, so it's not really a special designation. The thing that made first edition so special for collectors and so valuable today was the limited quantities, and that's something that we do not have equivalent here in English for collectors today. We don't have a print run that is limited like the first edition print runs were. Now, don't get me wrong, I think reverse holos are okay. I think they look fine, but I don't get excited at all when I pull them, to be honest. It's like, oh, okay, there's the guaranteed reverse. It's just like any other card in the pack for me nowadays. I mean, when they first came out, I think they were kind of a cool, I don't know, I hate to call them a gimmick, but sort of a gimmick, okay, at least you get a reverse holo in every pack, but nowadays it just does not, I don't care. I really don't. I would love to see a return to first edition print runs in the English sets. I think that would be fantastic for collectors. I think it would be even great for players as well of the game. And why is that? I think it would cause a separation between the collectors and the players in terms of pricing. Right now, collectors and players have to pay the same prices for their cards, essentially. But if there were first edition print runs, I think that we would see a change in those pricings. I think the first edition cards would be more highly sought after and valued by collectors, but then players would be able to get cards that were not first edition for less. And this system would really reward collectors and players alike that want to go out and be proactive and search out, hunt out those first edition cards, those packs, in those limited quantities. And for a lot of collectors, it would make it a fun challenge to collect the new cards again. The thing about the cards today is there are so many being printed. We're talking about Sun and Moon, Guardians Rising, all these new sets that have come out. There is just so much product on the market that even those, you know, the highly sought after cards, you know, the rainbow cards, the secret rares, they just don't hold the value. Because they do have that factor for collectors of being, you know, hard to pull, hard to get, you know, with those odds. But the issue is the quantity there is on the market. There is just so many that you don't have something exclusive or really, really rare because there are so many packs and cards that have been produced and put out on the market. There's so much saturation. That first edition print run, if they were to do something like that, would make it a challenge for collectors and let them have something exclusive that isn't being extremely mass produced. And that's all great, and I think it would be awesome if they did something like that, but I don't think that that will ever happen. I don't think that they will ever go back to doing another first edition print run like they did in Wizards of the Coast. I don't think it's something they're interested in at all. And the other issue with collectors coming into Pokemon today, trying to open up new product, is there isn't that exclusivity anymore. At least with Japanese cards nowadays, there are so many different exclusive, awesome looking promos. We just don't get that in English. So that's kind of my wrap up. I would love to see first edition again. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinions on first edition or doing exclusive print runs, because I think it would really put a jump in the collector's market for current Pokemon items. From what I see, the English side of things in the Pokemon world is very much catering to the players of the game, but not so much to the collectors of the game. And I would love to see them be able to cater to both sides. And I think it would even benefit the players based on what I think, but you never know. So that's it for today. First edition, Javin M signing out. Now on to the unlimited run of Javin M. See you guys in the store.